Good morning, my Photoshop veterans. Last week I gave you guys the option of working on independent projects from a Photoshop tutorial website, and you did some amazing things. We'll take a quick look at them and then talk about expectations for this week. Here someone put, you know what, you guys, put your name in the file name so I can see who's producing this artwork. So here we've got Austin, a terrarium. Here, Ryan took her first attempt at a text portrait. We're going to talk more about that later this semester. Here, Cindy did a really nice double exposure with Maria, and we're going to talk more about that later. Cindy, this is actually a pretty low res image, so here not what you want to do, higher res stuff. My man Lucas was experimenting with this iris. I'm not really sure where he's taking it. Cameron did a really great job with Ruble in this double exposure as well. I did some experimentation because I know that on Friday, Evelyn and Tiffany were experimenting with this and had some questions. I love mommy, says Sarah Shapiro, and so do I. This is a really nice project for upcoming Mother's Day project. And here we have Sarah's really interesting. Is this a marionette? Is that what this is, or a puppet of some sort? I really, really like this, and I like the creativity. Jesse did a tremendous amount of work experimenting with filters and a few other things, and this watercolor PSD. Nice job, Jesse. My man Cameron's starting this project, and I know a few of you guys were looking at this double exposure again. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what's on the agenda for this week? On Monday, today, you guys are going to be introduced to color range. Color range is sort of a selection technique that I haven't really talked about. So here's what you're going to be producing today, and here's what you're going to be starting with. The color image I took, I guess it was on Fifth Avenue. You're going to desaturate everything except for the reds. It's a pretty convenient selection tool. We'll talk more about that later, and you'll learn a little bit about it in the video. In tomorrow's class, we're going to talk about channels, and we're going to start this college poster. I'm not really sure how many days this will take, but immediately following that, maybe on Wednesday, we're going to continue working on the directory for a day or two. Then we're going to wrap up the week with this double exposure project. So let's talk about this directory. I was able to get the floor plan for the first floor, and I know, for example, that the nurse is in this corner, and the computer science class is in 126. We're going to do some fun stuff with this, but let's talk again about channels and the double exposure sneak preview for later this week. Uh, I made this actually today for Brooke in a project that she's working on. Okay, here we have a nice example of double exposure I made with my son. So I'm going to show you exactly how I took this image, applied a layer mask, and got a really, really nice selection. And then, of course, just included the eyes, the mouth, the nose, these facial characteristics. And then we're gonna explore that later in depth. I took these images on the top of the Google roof. Here's another example. This technique is actually pretty easy. I snapped this photo today in my living room, and here was actually my very first attempt at double exposure. This one didn't come out all that impressively. This one, however, um, actually this one I like a whole lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into color range.